Welcome to the Therapy Business Club podcast today with me, your host, Ewan Jupp. I'm so glad you've joined us on this podcast. Week by week, we have different guests on. And the idea is for them to share with you insights from experience, what's working for them as a therapist, that when they do that, perhaps you'll be inspired to take some of those practices into your own therapy approach. If you want to know more about the Therapy Business Club, you can go to therapybusinessclub.com. We have a free 14-day trial. Try out all the resources, join our Facebook group. We have a coaching lounge, a lot of assets that are designed to help you get your practice up and running, and flourishing. It doesn't matter if you're just a new therapist or you've been in the game for some time, there's something we can all learn. So Therapy Business Club is designed with you in mind to get you going. Right, no more needed sound than that. A very special guest today, someone who's become a good friend in the last year. I've learned a lot from her. I think she's a hilarious woman, a bit bonkers. She's the queen of Hypno Rave, Lara Cox. Hi, Lara,
Hello.
welcome.
Hello, Ewan. Lovely to be here.
You're looking good. You're looking healthy.
I've got a hat. What more do you need?
You got the t-shirt, you got a bush.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've got it all.
you've got it all.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
been
wearing
very
my marketing hat because I wanted to show you my appreciation for all that you do for marketing. And yeah, so I've got a t-shirt with my name on. I've got a hat with my name
wow.
on. Everyone knows who I am.
I wonder if someone could win that hat maybe with a prize.
Hang on a minute. I've only just got it.
Oh, you've only got one hat. That was a
It's
sample.
brand new.
Okay,
Here's a
okay.
sample.
Oh, it's
Silly
good.
on.
It's good. I actually have a hypnosis t-shirt. It just says hypnotist. And I also have another one, ask me about hypnosis. And it does engage people, actually. You get those
Yeah, actually, that's
questions.
what I put on the back. Actually, oh, I won't get up because it's gonna everything's gonna fall over. I spent so long arranged my set. So, but yeah, I've got hip asked me to hypnotize you in the back.
Why not?
In
Free advertising, isn't it? Well, you've had to
yeah,
pay for the
yeah,
t-shirt, obviously.
yeah.
Anyway, so Lara, some people will know you. Some people will not know you. So I think one of the obvious questions just to kick off with now is who is Lara Cox? What is your background and why hypnotherapy, Lara?
That's a very interesting question. So I think, well, I suppose like all of us, there's lots of parts to me. Who am I? I do change quite significantly from day to day, from
Okay.
week to week. But I've got some seasons. I think you mentioned seasons before we started recording, and I definitely
Mm,
have seasons. I have a thoughtful, reflective, compassionate side, obviously, and I have a side that's a bit more light and upbeat and needs fun, needs a bit of lightness. So those I'm probably occupying. There's a part of me. There's the writer part. There's the performer part, and then there's the compassionate, healing part. I think those are probably the parts that make me up as a hypnotherapist, hypnotist. So yeah, so when I first came into hypnosis, I was thinking just about, even though my background is in performance, I
right.
was a teacher, but before that I was a stand-up comedian. But when I came into hypnotherapy, I was just thinking about therapy because, so that's another question about. I was just thinking about helping people. As a process of helping other people, I began to help myself and began to get back some of the things that I'd lost
Yeah.
myself along the way of life. Some of my confidence and some of my, I suppose, yeah, and also yeah, I was in a different place, so that's what happened. So my intention, I was not remotely interested in performing, so stage hypnosis or anything like that. But as a byproduct of what I was doing for other people, I thought, oh, actually, this is a bit of fun, isn't it? Oh, like this. And I was like, oh yeah, you forgot about that part of you. And yeah, and so that's what's kind of happened.
So you weren't doing coaching or anything like that and thought, oh, hypnotherapy could be good to add to the mix. You were sort of doing
No, not at
not
all.
really.
Yeah. No, I went to a hypnotherapist for myself because
Yeah.
I was at the time I was a teacher
Yeah.
and I was struggling. I was I was struggling with insomnia. I had been for 4 years, but significantly for 6 months, I hadn't actually slept. I was going out of my mind. I was having a breakdown. I could barely walk into a classroom. I was, that bad at one point. I was being bullied in one particular school,
Mm.
and I went to see a hypnotherapist to help me sleep, and that was the beginning of me, I suppose, healing. I still, so that was the beginning of that. And then it ended up with me having this incredible dream which has become a protocol called the albatross, which I've used.
The
I thought, "Ah, this is the
albatross.
thing. It's called the albatross. It's a great protocol." But I had this dream where I was taking this albatross off my head, and I shot it, and I felt this incredible relief. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry or upset. I'd shot something. I thought, thank God I've killed it. And then I felt this incredible relief because obviously this is a dream me. And that was the beginning. And I knew as soon as I woke up, I'm going to be a hypnotherapist.
Mm.
And that was it.
Wow.
And I was. And that was the beginning of me getting training for hypnosis. But I also used that very dream to help. It was one of my first protocols for smokers was the albatross. It's been really good for people with like addiction and self-sabotaging behaviors and
Yeah, yeah.
guilt. So lots of guilt. And because I think before I was a teacher, I had a background, and I think I had went into teaching with a lot of unresolved trauma and unresolved issues, and that's why, even though I had been a performer, I got back to a place where I couldn't perform again because I was kind of like burying myself. So, for me, that being a hypnotherapist was a thing that awoken everything again. So
Yeah.
the therapeutic side is significant for me. It's
Mm.
massive.
Wonderful, wonderful. Albatross is a bit of a random bird to pick out, isn't it, really?
Fairly big.
I mean, most
It's
people
fairly
pick it.
mythical.
Yeah, that's true, actually. The size wise, I mean, an eagle, usually people visualize these sorts of things. An albatross, I'll take it. Why not?
Well, what about I've got literature background, so the albatross. I didn't even know the poem. Now I've forgotten the name of the poet, very famous poet that wrote the story of the albatross.
Sounds familiar. Can't remember.
Samuel, we'll have to come back to that because that's appalling of me to forget. Uh, and I did this the first time I did the albatross. I think it was Bob Burns had to tell me, rhyme me, who actually wrote the poem. The Ancient Mariner. It's
Okay,
the rhyme of the
Samuel
Ancient
Taylor
Mariner.
Coleridge.
That's it. That's the
That's
one.
right.
Well done. So yeah, yeah. So he was I mean, but I hadn't actually even read that poem. Well, not to my knowledge. Maybe unconsciously I did.
Is this Bob Burns
But
the Swan? So we got Lara Cox the
yes, yeah,
albatross
yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
yes.
I need
That,
to
yeah,
think
yeah.
of a bird for my for my patented technique as well. Excellent. I love that story. So this podcast, Lara, is really helping therapists wherever they are on their journey. Some are just starting. I'm sort of 12 months into this, so I would still consider myself new. There's always challenges to everything. When you sort of made that transition into hypnotherapy as a therapeutic approach, hypnosis therapy, what were some of the things that you had to overcome? Because there are probably other people who can identify with those struggles. What did you find?
Uh, well, in the early days of being a therapist, apart from obviously getting clients, that's a big one. I think finding your voice, that's a massive one. Being, I suppose worried when you put yourself out there, the rejection and for me I had an added problem that I got into trouble at school quite quickly. Well, I didn't get into trouble because but as you know me, I'm fairly expressive and I'm quite a big sharer. I do share
You
where
do.
I'm at at any time. And unfortunately for schools are businesses, and
Mm.
you can't. So as soon as my TikTok got out, there's one of the things, and kids started following me, and obviously some of my TikToks. Well, pretty much all of them actually are inappropriate in terms of for children,
Yeah.
because my language is not appropriate for school. They loved it, obviously, but then I got asked by the head of there was actually the deputy head of my school that you need to take your TikToks down. You need to go private. I thought I was going to get sacked. I didn't actually get sacked, but I was told that I need to make them private. And at that point, I thought, do you know
Mm.
what? I will do, but I'm going to get another. I'm going to leave teaching. And I have to for now, so I have to curtail what I'm doing. But I'm done with not expressing myself. I've been a teacher for 16 years by that point, and a reluctant teacher as well.
It's
So
a tough
obviously,
profession now, isn't it? I mean, I suppose it always has been,
so
but now
oh,
most
it's just
teachers I meet,
nothing you can do. Yeah, you can because you got no, you're working all the time, and that's okay. I mean, I work all the time now, but you work all the time and you get no freedom, and there's it's so many rules, and there's anyway. I'm not going to get into slagging off teaching because obviously I'm so happy I've got these skills that I've got as a result of being a teacher. But yeah, it was never for me, and yeah, I ended up doing
hmm,
it for 16 years.
yeah. But I suppose it gives good communication skill, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, which is a big part of it all. Excellent. So, one of the questions that comes up, Laura, and I'd be interested in your insight on this, is this whole idea, should I be a generalist, or should I niche into something? Now I know that you do a lot of smoking cessation sessions. I'm not saying that's all you do, and perhaps you can outline what you do, but that's something you do. When someone's sort of getting on the road as a therapist, what should they do, in your opinion, or
Do
what shouldn't they
you
do?
are you happy for me to go down a metaphorical or an analogy, let's call it?
Yes,
So because
induct me first, and then I'm ready. Go for it.
so it's only that this came up yesterday, and
Okay.
I'm gonna expose myself for some hideous parenting at the same time. So,
Okay.
um, but this is very relevant to the whole because it has been a question, general niche that has occupied my mind. I've gone to Jason Annette with it. I've
Mm,
asked, Carl Smith very recently before Vegas. Well, I was gonna that was my burning question, and I came to an answer. I came to my own solution because I don't think anyone can really tell you, to be honest,
no.
rather than yourself. But yesterday I had a terrible well, no, I was basically had a massive go at my daughter, really unfairly. My youngest daughter, she's a tennis player, so and she wants to go to Wimbledon. She's really, really good.
Wow.
She's an excellent tennis player. She's 11 years old, but every week, as a result of, it's not just me, so the whole family is impacted by the fact that this is her dream. I get up by myself, not by myself, I get up myself. I get up 3, 4 times a week, as does she. I'm up at 5:30 to get her because it gets earlier and earlier as the school
Mm,
gets. So I'm now up at 5:30 4 times a week to get to her training centre, which is
okay.
it's not that far. It's about that a half an hour away. And on top of it, on yesterday she also was asked to play netball at school in the middle of the day, which is what her school do. She's at a little local state school, but they always have anything to do with sports miles away.
Mm,
So she gets invited to pretty much every sports thing, and then because my time in many goes for tennis. So, but I don't. She gets upset if I don't see her doing netball, even though anyway. So I was under pressure. Took her to her netball. Then I came back to took her to tennis and had to get back for my client call. Then to get back to her school, I had the hospital in between. Went to her school, watched netball, which was miles away. Then I was late back coming from my client. I had to kind of like budge that along. Came off that call, ready to take a call from someone else before picking up my other daughter from theatre, then come back and make dinner. And in between this 2 minutes of me getting off the call, and before I had to walk out the door, I haven't eaten over and I haven't even made her dinner. Uh, she thought it has to be about a play day that she wanted to go on to on Saturday, like this Saturday, with another friend of hers, who also lives 45 minutes away. And I said to her, really quite meanly, I think you have to decide, do you actually want to be a tennis player? Because if you want to be a tennis player, you can't have everything. I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do netball. And then I'm gonna, and she started crying. She got really upset. And the thing is, the reality is she was asking for something very normal. Just because she wants to be a tennis player doesn't mean she's going to stop wanting to have friends or do parties or.
yeah.
But the problem is, and I did although she was crying and she was saying, it was probably even worse than I presented it here in terms of my tone and how I made her feel. And she was crying, and obviously, look, I said, look, I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry. This is where we're at. Of course, it's normal that you want these things. You want all these things. You've got and it's normal, and you're working really hard to do this. But I'm trying to help you do your thing. But I also want to do a thing. I've got a thing that I really want to do, and I'm trying to do that as well. And I've only got a finite amount of energy and finite amount of resources. And we're going to have to make some decisions about what we can do because you're asked to do cricket, you're asked to do netball, you're asked to do because you're good at sports, you're good at all sports because you are really talented at sport, but you can't do all sports. And I certainly can't come to all sports and I can't, so we have to decide. So that's probably what I'm talking about, the general. And it's not that you can't do it. I had a great session this week with a young kid who had emetophobia. She's absolutely lovely. One of my favorite sessions. And she's come back. She wants to be a hypnotherapist. She just went out there thinking, I love this. I found my new thing. And I thought, oh, and I just fell in love with her. I thought she's amazing. And imagine finding hypnosis when you're 16 or 17 years old and it's changed your world.
Absolutely.
Um,
Wow.
but yeah, it's amazing. But I can't, but I don't specialize in emetophobia. I've seen quite a lot of people because I can't talk about everything all day, every day. So
No.
it's not that generally. So I've kind of got my niche down to two things now.
Gosh.
But it's taken me 5 years to decide.
Okay.
So, but now I've decided, Laura, you're only going to talk about these two things. You're going to talk about smoking and you're going to talk about stage hypnosis
Okay.
because obviously if you're promoting a show, and also I have a group, The Life You're Born to Live, and I do hypnosis sessions there. So when I've got something I'm offering or something I'm doing, I'll talk about that, and that incorporates my passion is anyway, which is confidence and supporting your goals and life
Right.
manifesting and things you want to do. So that because those are the two things I can talk about. And that's what I've decided to do. And it's not because I'm not really interested. For a while, I got really interested in, I'm speaking, I'm going to the Rotary Club next week to talk about Parkinson's because I created a protocol
Hmm.
that worked brilliantly for about 3 or 4 people with
Mm.
Parkinson's that I've worked with.
Wow.
So yeah, so I thought I'm going to go and talk about that. But it was so long ago that I set it up, and the reality is now I've already kind of lost, and so this sounds so shallow and so awful, but I've lost interest. I've lost interest in it. I've lost interest in people Parkinson's. It's not that I have, but I just don't want to talk about that all day. It's not,
Yeah, but we
doesn't make me
evolve, don't we? We evolve into different things. Again, we mentioned seasons. Sometimes things are appropriate there, and we feel right. We're qualified. We've got something to say in a particular niche, and then we evolve into something else. I think that's good. I think a lot of people, when they start, Lara, are trying to save the world. And hypnotherapy specifically is a very good modality to deal with a lot of issues. I don't need to tell you that, from phobias, emotional stuff,
yeah,
chronic pain, you name it. Some people perhaps might be more suited, I suppose, to a niche because of their background, their experience, their work training already. For me, when I started, it was just I wanted to get as much experience as I could. So just say yes to everything,
yeah,
whether I
absolutely.
felt I had the confidence to deal with it or not. I still haven't done a no smoking session actually. I think that's the one for me, Lara. When I think about that, I sort of have that sort of inner, gosh, can I do that? I believe I
Yes, you
can. But
can.
I thank you. There you go.
Absolutely can.
Free therapy. Wow. But when I see your advertising on social media and stuff, which we'll get onto in a minute, and you talk about smoking cessation, and I know you're doing group sessions and you seem to be very successful at that. I know others have said, and Freddie Jacquin himself said last week, you can make a career out of just doing no smoking sessions. Of course, there's a lot of demand for it, and perhaps some people will specialize in that. So I appreciate your thoughts on that because I think some therapists are really struggling with that. Should I really niche down on that? I'm not sure there's a definitive answer. We find our way, don't we? I've decided just to be a generalist, and then maybe I will go down a certain route. We may find that we're really good at a certain thing, and it
I
just
think so.
really suggests itself. Yeah. So talk about the smoking stuff.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's more.
How's that working?
I do love doing the smoking. So
You love
the
smoking.
like I don't know, well, I did love smoking. I was a very good smoker. I was a very good
Laura, I
smoker.
just have to add in here, one thing that really caught me with hypnotherapy is I was a smoker back in the day, and
It's a good
hypnotherapy
start.
was the only thing that stopped me.
But that's the best start. Well, there you go. You've got your story.
Oh,
You've got to
oh,
have your story. You've got your
there
story,
you
and
go.
that's the hook. But that is the truth. But the hook is the story. But the story's
Yeah.
got to be real, and
Okay.
that's what's going to talk to people. And there's people are afraid of smoking because I think because it's a and I certainly was because it's a fail. It's a you've passed or you've failed. They've stopped or they haven't. Because with other things, it's kind of you can turn down anxiety. Oh, I feel a bit better.
Yeah, yeah.
But with smoking, you've either stopped or you don't. And the same, I suppose, with phobia as well. Which is why, to be honest, it's why I liked phobia in the early days because that's when I realised my therapy is being effective. It was giving me feedback. But with smoking, so for me the first time I did work with a smoker, I hadn't done it before, and I was still smoking myself. And I was one of the reasons why I wasn't working with smokers. So it was not that
Right.
long ago. So it was 4 years ago that I probably did my first smoker. And I didn't really want to do it, but like you just said, I heard someone saying, they phoned me up and they asked me, and I heard myself saying, and I probably needed the money was probably largely the motivation. Uh, can you, and I heard myself saying yes. I think I just got to that point where I thought, you're going to find a way to do it. You say yes, and then do the worrying about it. And so I did, and it was successful. And
Was
that
that
was
just
when
one session, Lara, or two or three?
it was one session, but So that was enough, and I was playing this. She was a really interesting. I don't even know if it's yeah. I'm sure it's fine to talk about. I don't yeah, because this is just a community, isn't it? I'm just thinking about what I can say about the client, but she was yeah. Anyway, she was really interesting to work with. She'd had a severe accident, and she had a metal plate in her head, and she was
Mm.
incredible.
Gosh.
Incredibly inspiring woman, and I was just amazed that she actually really wanted to stop smoking at this particular junction of her life with all this other stuff going on. But anyway, so I worked with her, and it worked, and that was all the confidence I needed to then start improving it. Think, oh, I like this, but it didn't actually. Well, she started smoking a few months later, and then but by that time I was already done a couple more. Already
Yeah.
thought I can do this, and I made the decision sometime after that because obviously I think it was. I was, as I said, I was still smoking, and that for me was a block because I
Mhm.
didn't think I cannot really genuinely
Yeah.
infuse about why I can help you do this if I'm still doing it myself.
You
That's
feel a
how I
bit of
felt.
a hypocrite,
I
actually.
felt so, yeah. And then
Mm.
I felt I can't have that authentic conversation with you. And
Yeah.
for me, that's a better place to be because then I can
Mm.
flow if I feel like I'm just being myself and I'm not having to lie or come up with things
Mm.
or sell. Then anyway, so between then and then my dad died, but my
Mm.
dad died in a very for me, even though he was of an elderly age, he died it was smoking related,
Right.
and he died of not being able to breathe. He had with those things, a tracheotomy.
Yeah.
He had emphysema. This is the second time he
Mm.
had cancer, and when I watched, was watching him dying, and he couldn't breathe, and I could see the pain, the fear, and the anxiety in his face, and it did something to me in such a horrible. It was such a horrible, and I just it changed my relationship with
Oh,
smoking.
yeah.
It's like the Angels with Dirty Faces. I don't know if you know that film. If you ever saw that film,
I
it's
remember
a
the
great
song
film.
actually back in the 80s.
All right. I won't detour because nobody will have seen it. Anyway, it's a great film where there's a change of a revelation the priest makes. Anyway, so my dad died in a way that had impact, and I decided I was going to stop smoking, and I was going to start. So I stopped on the day that we buried him, and I
Mm.
had a self hypnosis. I sort of did with it with the cough and all. But I suppose it's a version, really, isn't it? But
Mm.
because I've got associations in my mind planted, but the coffin's shut. Never. That's cigarettes is for me. It's done, and I haven't smoked since, and I never will. And bearing in mind I smoked my entire life, like from a very early age. And that was the point of right now I'm ready. I'm ready to work
Mm.
with smokers. And I began to work with smokers. And it was very easy for me to work with smokers because I'm coming from and I talked about this recently because I did a training for stop smoking with other therapists, and so I outlined it's very easy for me because I'm genuinely so excited about my own
Good.
freedom, and
Wonderful.
that yeah, and it comes across. Now you don't have to be in that position, but if you can feel that way for any reason, you can feel that reason 10 years down the line. I still
Mm.
think I will feel it if I'm still here.
Mm.
I'll think I can't believe I'm still alive after everything I've done to my lungs. My God, thank you so much. So I will still be. I will forevermore be grateful till I'm not here, just because I feel like I've already done well,
Mm.
to be here. So, but yeah, so that was part of it. I like talking about smoking. I like smokers because they're obviously the only thing that we've got in common is the habit. But
Yeah.
it can be sometimes it can be very heavy depending on what that smoker's got in their lives. But other times it can be like light-hearted and you can have a banter. So I like the variety of it, and I like where the smoking journey takes you when you're finding out about that client, where it can take you.
Yeah.
Um, so why smoking really was because it was an obvious thing for me to do, having smoked all my life and having found self-hypnosis like you've done. Hypnotherapy helped you stop smoking. It helped me as well, and it helped
Great.
me. It gave me that gratitude for my
Yeah. Yeah.
body and my health, and now I realize that I can, I'm doing all these incredible things with hypnosis for myself. Giving up smoking is just one of them, and I've got this gift that I can give to people that want to
Yeah.
stop smoking,
And you're
and it's
giving
good
it.
money.
You're giving it. And of course, I mean, on the business aspect, it does.
Right
It
money,
does.
yeah,
It's good money because there's
yeah,
a lot of people out there seeking help that aren't getting it on the NHS or perhaps feel a bit embarrassed about turning to other professional services. So I like that. That's wonderful. As I said, I haven't done it. Maybe soon.
yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, if
You
there's
like it. I
anyone,
think you'll like it. You'll get addicted to it.
yeah,
You'll get addicted to helping people
yeah.
stop.
Is this
Yeah.
mainly online or is that in person? What works best for
Think
you?
it's probably about half and half, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good. Right. I just want to move on to social media.
Mhm.
I know you're on social media because often I'm scrolling. You'll interrupt me when I'm scrolling. Think, oh, what the hell is that nutter doing now? And she's raving in some park locally. I think, oh my goodness. But you stop me scrolling, Lara. That's the idea. What we call, the pattern
Yeah.
interrupt. So it seems that you're doing quite well on social media. In my orbit, there are some who are just not comfortable with social media, but it's where people are hanging out. For me, it's a gift in terms of meeting your ideal client. So, how are you going about using social media for your benefit? What's working for you?
Yeah, I mean, it does always change, and it's like sometimes, yeah, I've got this new thing. So, for instance, I'll give you an example of that. When I came back from Vegas, I thought, right,
When I
I'm gonna
came back from
start, yeah,
Vegas,
but it was a big thing actually.
I'm
Vegas was,
sure.
it changed something. It made me look at things in a different way
Wow.
because I'd gone away, I'd done something that was very I suppose difficult for me to even do, and it was a challenge on so many levels,
Yeah.
and it was uncompromising on so many levels. I was taking so many risks on so many levels, and I'm glad I did. And I came back and it just unlocked something. So what were we talking about? Oh, social media.
Social media, the use of social media, how are you doing it, and
Yeah.
what's
So
working for
so
you?
so so when I came back, I thought, right, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I decided I'm going to start doing lives because I'm going to start doing more things that make me uncomfortable because that's where we grow.
Hmm.
So I'm going to
Good
start
point.
where are my comfort zones. And one of the things I was not comfortable with was doing Facebook lives. And I'd already read that Facebook lives, Facebook rewards you by doing, if you do live, it gives you so many more views. Well, there we go, then I'll do that then. But I felt really awkward doing it because I can't because of my background in comedy, when you do comedy or even teaching, we talk
Hmm.
about calibration when as a therapist, you calibrate a room, you calibrate Twitch, you just calibrate because that's how you calibrate your timing or your
Yeah.
how you change your story or whatever it is. But with Facebook Live, you can't calibrate because you're in the dark and you don't even know who's looking at you. And that I find
Hmm.
that blindness really, really unnerving. It's not like I can use any other sense. It's just
Hmm.
just just hope that people don't hate you. And for me, that probably a lot do. Anyway, so I'm looking there thinking I'm going to get comfortable with this. I'm going to do Facebook Live, and so I started doing those. And I also found that they do filters and filters for me now. So like as a woman, like anyone over 40, I'm sure will identify this. It's hard going on video and seeing what you look like but Facebook Live have these filters and you can, and I felt, wow, God, I can look great. I can look great and have great content because I've always been confident that even if people don't like me, I know that I've got intelligent things, reflections, as I spend a lot of time thinking and reflecting.
Yeah,
I've got stuff to share.
you
So I've
did.
always been confident about that. It's just not, don't like the way that I look half the time. And suddenly I thought, well, great, because also because I'm getting up so early in the morning when I'm doing some videos, I can't get up and put on makeup at 5:30 in the morning because I wake up my husband. So I'm going out looking rough, looking tired. And then I have to go and do a live. And I thought, but suddenly Facebook have got filtering, right, this is easy. I'm just going to get really good at this. I'm going to bang out content. Anyway, they've stopped the filters. So oh no! So I'm now going to have to rethink. They've stopped the filters because they've got policies as to why.
All
Not going to go
right.
into it. So that is actually. I thought it was going to change me, but it has actually because it does matter. So I'm going to go back to doing videos, and it's not because I know it does make a difference. We can say it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what you look like; it matters how you feel, and it
Hmm.
matters how confident yeah, it matters how confident you feel. And so I'd say go do videos, use a bit of filtering, use a bit of AI, if it makes you feel better about your
Hmm.
content. So that's what I would be doing. So that's you said what's working for you now. I'd say for Facebook with live was
Right.
great for me 2 weeks ago, but it's moved on. And so now I'm going to be doing videos again. But I have been doing a lot of video editing. So I did a massive video editing course, which you've seen me with the me being a nutter on the in the
Yeah,
woods.
yeah.
cloning myself. I'm doing learning all
Yeah,
kinds of
it's engaging. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
just doing
well,
something different. I suppose that, it's such a crowded space, isn't it? And people just scroll by. I don't even see friends posts, to be honest. So you've got to be really
yeah,
thinking differently. Video, of course, is a great way to get people's attention. Some people are not kind of confident enough, but as therapists, we've got to get used to communicating with people, haven't we? Building that rapport. So I've seen a lot of change in some of our members who are quite timid about it now, quite au fait with Canva,
great. That's
getting on
amazing, isn't it?
Facebook. Yeah, because we've got to get comfortable because people are on social media looking for our type of input, of course. Are you on TikTok or Instagram
Yeah,
or?
yeah, I'm on TikTok. I stopped using TikTok. I've got about 1,000 followers on TikTok, but I don't really because
Okay.
when I moved from personal to business, it killed my
Okay.
account. So,
Yeah.
but I still have one. I don't use Instagram. My Instagram's a funeral, like it's dead. It's a dead zone. Again, I don't really use it.
Right.
And so Facebook, it's Facebook and YouTube are my
Okay.
are my platforms where I've got the most, I suppose,
Right.
the most potential right now. YouTube. I mean, I've got 560, something like that,
Go, go.
subscribers. I mean, it's okay. It's a start, isn't it? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Facebook. I get for some of the videos. I get a lot of a lot of views. I don't even know what it accounts to, but if I compare to what I was, there's definitely seems to be a build.
Yeah, so
But yeah,
liking comments and people sharing, all this
yeah,
interaction is good, isn't it? So you've sort
yeah,
of decided those where you want to be present, and the others, maybe in the future. And I think that's
yeah.
that's a good key actually, Lara, to get good on one platform because there's a lot of choice out there. I used to be in LinkedIn. I never found that really worked for me, to be honest. I think that's a different type of crowd altogether. But Facebook is ubiquitous. There's so many users. Get good on that. And YouTube channels, you can grow your
Yeah.
presence where you can unpack a bit more about what you do that you can't always on Facebook. Do you do any sort of local advertising? Does that work for you?
I'll tell you what has been working. So obviously, but this is back going to sort of like talking. I go out, so I've had a lot of referrals from comedians now because obviously I've gone out and I've done stand-up comedy. So like a couple of clients I've had last week were straight from. So some guy came to the he filmed my last stage show. He works for TV. He's like won awards for a
Okay.
couple of programs he's been on. Still waiting for my promo though because he's very busy, but he's already referred a couple of clients to me, which is great. So that's local because he's actually local to me, which is why he was able to come and record my stage show as well. So that's been really good. And because the club where the first place where I did the beginning of my rave hypno stage show, I've now got a contact there. So that's where I did like the group smoking session, and I'm going to do a few things
Hmm.
there and grow. I did have a bit of a local base because I used to work in the natural health and run a therapy room from there, which is good. But I stopped that because most of my clients were online. But now I'm back to wanting to have local to grow local again.
Is that what you like? You like sort of in-person
I
stuff?
do like, I mean, I want to have
Yeah.
both because I want to make some more money. And I think the way to do that is by doing more online. Um, it's more lucrative, but I really, really like
Yeah.
seeing people.
Yeah.
I like big groups of live
Yeah.
people. That's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you say you're quite comfortable on the business side of it, Lara? You think yourself as, I'm a businesswoman first and a therapist second?
Oh no, I've got better at business. I mean,
Right.
I think I'm better at business than I ever gave myself credit for intuitively.
Mm.
I don't I go to things intuitively rather than, but no, I'm not. I've had to become good at business,
Yeah, that's a good point.
but yeah, but it's not I'm not drive. I don't even like doing videos. Not really. I like elements where it's fun. I did enjoy one like doing the dancing in the woods because I like dancing. But I don't enjoy spending 10. I spent 2 days on a video, got nothing on it. So I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy, but I'm constantly trying to improve my skills. But so I don't enjoy losing. I'll look at a day and think you spent 3 days in that video, and you've got 4 people who've liked it. What kind of loser are you?
It's soul destroying, can't it be?
It is, yeah. What kind of desperate, sad, middle-aged woman dances in the woods and then gets no views?
I don't know how the algorithm works. Well, other stuff that you're not really important about, will get 4,000 views or something. I don't know how it
Yeah.
works, but I think the point is often made that a lot of people, going into therapy. This year, there'll be more hypnotherapists coming through various training institutes and so forth. And, they won't fail for lack of therapy knowledge. It's always the business side that lets people down. Some, are kind of reticent to engage in social media and advertising, but it's one of those necessary evils, isn't it? If you're going to sort of stay long term, what would you sort of suggest as we almost come to a close? Because I know you need to go, Laura, for therapists to sort of to have the long game in sight. What would you say will help them survive where others will fail?
I do think you've got to be prepared to put hours in. I think you've got to be prepared to work really hard.
Mm,
I think if you've got, I mean, because I don't even have any money, so money's been a limitation for me. If I had more money to invest, I'd be much bigger, much quicker, and have much more clients because there are some people. I remember hearing about Ken Guza with his smoking. He was already earning big money before he decided to just do smoking. Could suddenly put all that money into advertising, and
yeah.
then you could start from a great place. Whereas I was already not so I was already struggling for money. So I think if you've got a position and you've got a decent job, and a lot of therapists do, a lot of therapists seem to be all right. But if you're earning money from a good place, I'd say obviously keep that job and spend some money on some social media. Make sure you get a decent website, and then make sure you do some videos and put yourself out there and be
Mm,
prepared to promote yourself, prepared to talk about it. But ultimately, if you're not prepared to become comfortable talking about what you do, then it's not going to be for you, because that is the world that we're living in. And I think so. I do find it frustrating if people. I know most therapists are naturally caring, compassionate people, and that's what their drive is. They're driven to
mm,
help people,
yeah.
but you can't help people if they can't find you. So, and that helped. That was a key for me. It was actually Freddie Jacquin was, like I've just loads of people. I said Laurie Hammond had such an impact on my confidence by
Mm,
accepting me and sort of seeing me, and making me feel that it was okay to be me. But Freddie said something that was a real breakthrough when I was like on the retreat. And he says lots of things that are real breakthroughs for lots of people, but it was to do with being able to sell, and to saying you're not doing other people a service if they can't find you, if you're not if you, then you're doing them a disservice. And
mm,
it goes into the
yeah.
phrasing, doesn't he? And
Yeah.
that for me was a breakthrough, because I'd always come from a background where you don't show off, you don't, like you don't self-promote. My dad was a really clever man. He was an absolute genius, but business, no interest, no business acumen, no interest. Amazing genius with numbers, but it just because he wasn't interested in money, and he also it just wasn't his thing. And he'd always say, "No one looks at your shoes, no one looks at your car." They do, they do, and they look at, and then they judge. And if they don't think you're making enough money, they don't think they think you're
So
rubbish.
true. Yeah.
So there's all of that. So that's the background I came from, and there was a part of me that always feels it's bad. It's wrong to make money. It's wrong to be greedy, to ask for money. And I'm not greedy, but I do want to make more money. I like money, but I'm not greedy. But at the same time, as I want to be successful and I want to make decent money, and you don't do that by being quiet and
Mm,
by worrying about what everyone thinks about you and who doesn't like you. And that's what I've got to. And I think that's really helpful. If you stop caring about approval. And even I see this with my friends, colleagues, therapists, they get so excited when like someone with a big name thinks they're good or likes them. I think, well, it doesn't really matter if they like you or not, actually. It's, do you like you? Do you like what you're doing? You can't wait for their permission. They're not going to, the same as if you ask, do I ask Jason Lynette or Cole Smith if I should do niche, or it doesn't matter what they think, because they don't know who I am. They're not that
mm,
interested either. They're not as interested in me as I am. So I work out what are my talents, and what am I prepared to do to get
yeah.
people to know that I can help them. And I
Yeah.
think that's and then do it, and
X.
don't wait for anyone else to tell you that you can do it.
Yeah. And go with a price that you feel is, reflects the value of your own investment into, being a good therapist and so forth, which we don't have time to answer that question about pricing, but I think succinct words there, Lara, real pearls there.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you
good.
so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so
I
much.
want you to give us your web address. What is it that people can get hold of you? What is
Um,
that?
it's it's www.lchypnotherapy.com. So it's Lara Cox, LC. not
Okay, the
yeah,
link will be on the page there.
yeah.
So that is excellent. I could talk to you all day. Well, if I couldn't, I know you could talk to me all day long. But it's all very insightful. And I know people will find this so inspirational that you've shared from your heart today. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe to this channel. It really helps us grow and reach other people who will benefit from our material. You can find us at therapybusinessclub.com, where if you're a new therapist or maybe a year, 5 years in, we've got some great resources for you to grow your business and flourish as a therapist. Thank you so much for being with us today. Lara, thank you for being
Thank you,
on
no, thank you
the
for having
podcast with
me.
me today.
Really enjoyed it.
Peace, blessings to everyone. Bye-bye.